Hello, beautiful people. I am back. Celebrating the Sabbats in a way that separates them from the traditional Roman Catholic capitalist traditions of America is admittingly new to me. I grew up going along with the celebrations that my family held and what they were interested in, which were just the typical traditions of Americans, I would say, or at least people who are Americans in California. However, these customs and traditions never really resonated with me. And although I didn't mind the celebration aspect of this as a young child, when I grew, I began to have less and less faith, understanding, and connection to these celebrations. Obviously, to my family's disapproval. They always seemed to be so rooted in capitalism and worshiping a god that just really didn't resonate with me, and I honestly didn't believe in. These aspects were so integral to the celebrations, and the older I got, the more admittingly resentful and distrustful I grew. When I acknowledged and accepted my path as a witch, a greater appreciation and understanding of nature became such a core aspect of my craft. As I began to learn more about the natural cycles of the seasons and how they corresponded to the Sabbats and pagan traditions, I felt like everything just seemed to make so much more sense all of a sudden, because it became easy to see how many of the holidays we celebrate in America actually correspond to nature and are based off of pagan traditions and are actually not at all about the life and death of a supposed god, but rather about the seasons. I love this. Honestly, it makes so much more sense to me to celebrate nature, because celebrating nature is so observable. You know, if you look outside, the seasons are changing, and this may be different from person to person. For example, I grew up most of my life living in an apartment, and without even realizing it, I just had such a disconnect to the natural cycles going on around me. And later, when I became an adult, which was actually about a year ago now, I moved into a house that I rented with my two friends, and it just seemed like everything changed. Being that we were at ground level and we were in a house that just wasn't very well insulated from the weather, which had its advantages and disadvantages. One of the advantages was that we felt such a connection to the outside world, to nature. When it was hot, we were boiling inside, and when it was cold, we were absolutely freezing inside, still with a heater. Yeah, we did have a heater, but it was a very small unit, and it didn't seem to heat up very much other than about a 3-foot radius around it. But it really allowed me to see and experience nature in a completely different way. And so I'm so grateful for that experience, even though many aspects of it were very difficult. I'm incredibly grateful to have gone through that and to know what it is like. Here, well, now, a year later, I am back in an apartment and I can now appreciate it a lot more, to be honest, because we do have central AC, you know, we have a heater. It honestly feels like a hotel a lot of the time. And we joke that because I'm on the 4th floor, and we joke that it feels like a ship or kind of like a spaceship, something that is just so, you know, in its own little ecosystem, you know, because we're able to control the aspects of it so well and so differently. So that is an interesting experience. And being that I moved back into an apartment, I try to find as much time as I can to go outside every day, even if it's just for 15 minutes or just a few minutes to just walk outside and breathe in the air, feel the sun on my skin, feel if it is raining, which it rarely is around here, or if the sun is shining at all, or if there are a lot of clouds, what do the clouds look like? You know, I just do my best to see how windy it is, or just all of those things, to just really kind of have a meditative experience as I go outside. I just feel like if I didn't do that, I would have an extreme disconnect from nature. And, well, as a witch, it's really important to be connected to nature and the cycles going on, whether they are the seasons, whether they are the moon cycles, the astrological cycles, to just be aware of all of that, because everything is important and can potentially be used in your craft and be utilized. So I like to say I'm still a beginner witch, because I feel like there's just so much, you know, so much to learn, so much to know, so much to do and experience. And I love that so much. I do think that I have been progressing just in terms of the meditative aspects and yeah, all that good stuff. But part of my craft, a big part of it, is having that connection to nature. And part of it comes with, in my own experience, celebrating the solstices, celebrating the Sabbats. And so Yule is a really important Sabbat. Well, it's actually considered one of the lesser ones in the wheel. But it's important to me because I'm very connected to the season of winter. Since I am born in winter, that sounded kind of weird. I was born in winter, and my birthday is in December, which just passed. And I'm not an expert, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on Yule, or on paganism or any of that, but I am learning, and the more I learn, the more appreciation I have for it. The celebration of Yule is about God being reborn, and light begins to return to the earth. So the winter solstice is the day where the sun is out for the shortest period of time. So we have the longest period of darkness on that day. However, afterwards, as all cycles are, the sun begins to grow, and the time that we have sunshine begins to lengthen throughout our days. And so that is the aspect of God being reborn. And something that is typically used is a Yule log. Maybe you've seen it. I mean, it's really just a log that is traditionally burned, and there is typically a piece of that. You typically take a piece of the charcoal or whatever is left over from the log at the end, and then you keep it with you for the entire year. And the next Yule, the next cycle, you get that piece and you use it as the starter for burning that year's Yule log. And once again, it is meant to, the burning of the log is meant to symbolize light returning back to the earth. And so I love that. It's really beautiful. It's traditionally celebrated by singing, dancing, gift exchange, feasting, and having a tree, a pine tree. So as you can see, there are obviously a lot of aspects of Yule that were borrowed by the Christians for Christmas. So there is a lot of overlap. Typically on the Sabbats, I like to do a lot of reflection. And really beginning at Samhain, which corresponds with what we would know as Halloween as well, that's kind of when I feel like I begin my sort of New Year's process of kind of wrapping up the year and ending off with the next couple of months. So my new year is quite a bit longer, and typically, my God, my eye is itchy. Typically, well, not typically, but some witches do celebrate Samhain as their New Year's. It just so happens that there's Samhain, and then there's my birthday, and then there's Yule. So all of those things kind of represent new beginnings for me personally. But for the rest of us, there's at very least Samhain and Yule. So we have a good amount of time, a good opportunity to sort of end the year, wrap up, but just having one day to wrap that up, like on New Year's, for instance, I feel like for me is just way too little time. I need to do a lot of journaling, a lot of reflection, a lot of shadow work, a lot of death cycles before I'm able to wrap up the year. And that's why I prefer it. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I have for this video. Please let me know in the comment section down below if you celebrate Yule or any of the other Sabbats, or if this is your first time, or if you celebrate Christmas, that's fine too, or any other holiday during this time, and what you like to do for it. Okay, so I guess that's all we have for today, and I'm gonna leave you all with that. Thank you so much for being here. I'm grateful for you. I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye.